Hi, my name is Russell Sturgis. I'm the founder and principal of EAP Mentor. I created EAP Mentor a few years ago in order to fulfill my vision of global inner peace and stillness and healing one person at a time. To achieve this, I developed a one-on-one personal mentoring program called the Enhances Awareness Program. As the name suggests, the program is about helping people to enhance and develop their awareness. The reason that I chose to focus on helping people develop awareness was so that people had a better capacity to live life more mindfully. Now, that's important because the more mindful we are, the greater the capacity we have to live life with inner peace and stillness. And of course, the more that we're able to live life with inner peace and stillness, we have this ability to develop much better health physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually. So I would like to invite you to become part of my vision by considering participating in the Enhances Awareness Program. The program has 3 core units, which generally take about 3 months each unit for people to complete. The first unit is called Being Aware, the second is called Being Strategic, and the third is called Being Mindful. Remember that ultimately the goal of this is inner peace, which is brought about through being mindful. So what is mindful? What is being mindful and what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is having the ability to engage life in any moment, remembering that you have a choice. And that choice is between your habitual programmed way of living, meaning doing it how you've always done it, getting exactly what you've got every single time, or becoming aware that there's an alternative to how you can experience life and how you can engage life. And of course, having that alternative is the direct result of having become more aware. So in EAP, what we do to help you be more aware is to have you look at how you currently experience life physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, and what the impact of that is in terms of what sort of suffering does it create, or at the other extreme, what sort of joy does it bring? For most people though, it's some form of exhaustion, it's some form of relationship challenges, it's not being fulfilled in your work, and in fact it could be lifestyle disease or chronic diseases. So what we do is help you to become more aware of how you relate physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually impacts, but then we have you explore what it would look like if you were living your life in a way that was more loving to you, that was more serving to you, which meant that instead of being confused, you had clarity of mind. Instead of being unwell, you were well. You had wellness and you were healthy. Instead of being despairing emotionally, that you were living life joyfully, and instead of feeling constrained and locked down, that there was a real sense of freedom to be able to live your life in a way that truly served you in a positive and meaningful way. So we help you to be able to identify what an alternative would be, what a more joyful expression of life could be, and then with our second part of our program, we help you to develop strategies to move from one place to the other. Now in modern scientific language, we would talk about developing new neural pathways. So this is a new way of engaging life, and mindfulness is having the awareness, the presence of mind, the remembering in any instant that there's another way of doing this, that I don't have to do it the way that I've always done it. But of course, it requires, first of all, the awareness of that and the awareness of a strategy to be able to engage with it. The difference between EAP and, say, for example, life coaching is that if you were to do life coaching, they'd probably do the same thing in terms of identifying where you're at and where you want to go and what the strategies are, but they would have you then set up goals and accountability and timeframes and all those sorts of things to literally use personal will to change your behaviours. In EAP, we don't do that. we invite you to stay committed to the practice of being mindful. And remember what I described mindfulness as being is remembering that you have a choice. And so what we get you to do in the first 2 phases, particularly of this journey, is to, instead of going out and rushing out and changing behaviours, we ask you to stay committed to being mindful of the choices that you have, and recognising and being aware of what the impact of either of those choices would be on yourself, on others, and on the planet. And of course, finally, what happens is, as you continue to practice being more mindful, you begin to find yourself being more compassionate, more benevolent to yourself, to others, and toward the planet. And so this becomes the new default behaviour. So instead of the default being your programming and your habitual behaviours, your default becomes loving awareness, which is compassion, and being benevolent, acting benevolently. So EAP then gives you the guidance to be able to live life in this way, which means that you get to experience inner peace as a result of living life with more compassion and benevolence. You get to experience life with stillness. And of course, the consequence or the result of living life in that way is that you end up experiencing much better health physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. If you care to look onto the following video in this series, you'll find a discussion about one other aspect of what we do in EAP, and that's to help you become aware of what causes and what's responsible for the habits and the programming, and how you can change that. Because if you can't change the cause, then it's going to be very difficult to sustain changes in the behaviour. Anyway, please check out more about EAP and take a moment to have a look at the next video in this sequence. Thank you for taking time to look at this. Thank you.